So the big marketing campaign that's really going to promote the New World expansion has been announced. Now there's a little bit of sarcasm in that voice if I'm honest, because quite frankly the event that's been announced I don't think sounds that amazing. It literally only lasts 1 week. Yeah, it's not like maybe something that's going to absolutely save the marketing on this one, but let's jump in and let's talk about it. So there is a video that accompanies this and I'm just going to sort of play the footage for you. Basically it is a Twitch event that lasts 1 week. Now honestly 1 week sort of feels a little bit underwhelming. To be fair, when it comes to all the big content creators, paying them for 2 weeks probably really wouldn't be that big of a bonus. I don't think you'd actually gain that much from it. You sort of just want to be like, hey, this has been improved and hey, I like it, it's actually better now. And I think the way they're going to do this is probably going to work like that. Now one important thing is that there are going to be Twitch drops associated with this. Now we're not 100% sure who is actually involved, because if you go onto the list of people, and we'll have a look at this in a minute, there's a list of content creators, but it does say and more. And do you know what? I don't really know who that more is. I'm not currently contacted by Amazon. I have no knowledge. It might be that the drops are Twitch directory wide, or it might literally just be those who are actually involved. I'm guessing it will be directory wide because that's what they've typically done. And if you want to come and get your drops, I'll leave a link to my Twitch in the description. Future me here, they have now confirmed that there'll be a form for drops, so I almost certainly will have drops, unless AGS hate me, which you never know, they might do. Now the event itself is sort of split into individual days, and I think what's going to happen is there's going to be streamers who are paid effectively for those specific days and they're tasked with showing off something. So day 1 is Mount Race, day 2 is the Flail, day 3 is the Elysian World Tours, which I'm pretty sure is chest runs, which is sort of funny in its own right. Day 4 is the new dungeon, the Savage Divide. Day 5 is Territory Takedown, and then the last couple of days are literally the creator's choice. Basically do whatever the hell you like. I think it's going to work that there's going to be streamers maybe paid for like several hours at a time, maybe for a day at a time, and maybe some creators will be paid for every day and maybe some won't. I don't know how that works. I'm not involved. I'm just sort of wildly speculating there, but you know, sort of makes sense. Now the creators involved, we do have some New World content creators. We do have Baggins, BDLG, Danny, your boy Willie is on there for example, but there's also some bigger names on there. You've got Towerly, Sacriel, King Athalion, and probably the biggest name on here is Shroud. Asmongold is suspiciously absent, by the way. He's not on here. He could be included in the and more bit, but who knows? I don't really know what's going on there. Now, the Twitch drops themselves, regardless of what you think of the appearance, we're not really going to talk about that here, it's actually like a lot of time you need to watch in a short period of time. The event literally lasts 7 days, and in that 7 days, you need to watch 14 hours of Twitch. And you can't actually get all 5 on day 1. So for example, day 1, you're sort of expected to watch 4 hours. Anything more than that, I don't think will count to the next one. Because day 2, you get something else and you need to watch a further 2 hours. Then it's a further 2 hours on day 3. Then it's a further 2 hours on day 4. Then it's actually a further 4 hours on day 5. That's a very short window of time. If for some reason you're off for the first like 5 days, well then you're going to have 2 days to watch 14 hours. You know what that means? People are just going to be like streaming all the way through 24/7 channels. It's going to be a little bit chaotic, but you'll be able to find somebody if you want them. I'll be streaming 15 hours, so technically if you watch me at the start of one day, by the end of the day you'll get them all. As long as you watch from day 5 onwards, you might as well watch day 1, 2, 3 and 4 because I'm absolutely excellent, obviously. I'll just leave that in. It is what it is. Now, there is a much bigger picture here that I want to get a little bit more serious on. This marketing, quite frankly, is sad. The amount of money that Amazon is throwing at this, at the minute, sounds really sort of low. If I'm right that only specific streamers are going to be per day, rather than all the streamers every day, and I think I probably am, then I think this is going to be a little bit weird. It's also very different from my previous events. There's no actual event here. It's not like you have to come back and achieve this and there's ranking and it's this team versus this team. It's literally they're going to pay Shroud to promote mount racing on day 1. It feels very sort of underwhelming, quite simply. I think at this point there's sort of 3 things that could be happening with the New World marketing. Very simply, they don't want to fly above the radar. They want to fly under the radar. They want to be inconspicuous. They just want to get this out and let word of mouth sort of spread if it's good or bad. They don't want to risk what they had at launch where it was like a big hype and then it sort of like tanked. They just don't want that. So they're like, let's deliberately, cautiously fly under the radar. 2, they literally just don't have the money to fund these kind of marketing exploits anymore. Now, obviously, Amazon as a whole are very, very, very rich. That's obviously going without saying. But how much money and budget is allocated to each team, I have no idea. I'm not really involved in anything like that. It's very possible that they just don't want to stump up the money. Maybe that's why it wasn't at the Gamescom, because that would have cost several $100,000. So maybe they just want the hype, but they can't afford it. And then the third option is that there are no budgetary concerns and they don't want to fly under the radar, but they're just, this sounds a little bit harsh, I don't like sort of speaking like this, but they might just be incompetent to think that this is the marketing that is the best for this expansion. And they might be like, this is as much hype that we can create. We are trying our best. We've got as much budget as we want, and this is all we can do. I have to believe that that's not true. They could have put Twitch ads. They could even like put it on the Amazon page if they wanted. They've got a lot of things that they could do. I don't believe that it's incompetence. I don't think that's true. I just want to put that out there because it is something that some of you might think is true. I personally don't believe that one. The more likely ones to me are they just don't want to spend that money. Maybe they want to put it elsewhere, or they do actually want to fly under the radar. Either way, I think the marketing's a little bit sad. I've been pretty consistent about that since, well, for a couple of weeks now. And yeah, this event isn't sort of changing my mind necessarily. I think it's actually a decent, like, best bang for your buck kind of thing. Pay for specific creators for specific days. Maybe you pay the big creators for all the time. Maybe you pay the smaller ones like specific time slots. I don't really know how that's going to work necessarily, but I think it's reasonable. It makes sense. There's no need to do a full Twitch event. That's sort of like a lot of effort, probably for not that much reward. And it's a little bit stupid with people leveling up and grinding stupid stuff. I think this just makes sense. However, the communities won't feel necessarily as involved. So yeah, I think it'll be an interesting event. I just feel a little bit underwhelmed. It just doesn't feel like a full-on commitment to me at this point. Let's see how it plays out. Let's see how the expansion launches. Worth noting that there is an event on Discord talking about when the Call of the Wilds is going to happen and when the patch is going to happen, and it's scheduled for around about 5 PM UK time. That is 12 midday EST and 9 AM Pacific time. And that makes sense. They want to come into their office because they are Pacific time, boot up the expansion, deal with any like fallout or consequences from that point on. And that is, of course, on Tuesday, the 3rd of October. I will be streaming it. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Do you like the skins? I think they sort of look alright personally. Let me know your thoughts about the marketing though. Very interested there. Big shout out to my Patreons. I do really appreciate you guys. And I said there will be a link to my Twitch in the description. Please come and give me a follow. I'm going to be blasting this expansion, not just for 1 week. We're not doing it for 1 week, but not just 2. We're going to be going several months, maybe even years. We're just going to pump. You've got to pump it up. Pump, pump, pump. What you should definitely do though, it's our most beautiful day. Like and subscribe. Goodbye.